The Manna Effect. The world has seen and known the effects of cell differentiation. Manna will show you the cell retrodifferentiation, how a differentiated cell changes its morphology to become the Manna cell, a stem cell with unique characteristics. This is the Manna effect. Manna is intellectual property patent pending, wide file number E-12/104/2006, CHE patent application number 1070/CHE/2006 IFE. What is Manna effect? Deduction theory of Manna effect. Manna penetrates the cell wall, revitalizes the adult differentiated cells by morphologically transforming it into the Manna cell. The innate property of Manna is thus capable of transforming fetal committed stem cells and adult differentiated cells into the Manna cell within minutes, thus creating the Manna effect. Modified phase contrast microscopy transformation from pre to post-Manna effect on fetal stem cells of aborted fetus in the same hanging drop preparation slide seen within minutes in a continuous film without break. Pre-Manna. Here you see hanging drop preparation of fetal stem cells viewed through modified phase contrast microscope. Lusterless, monochromatic, spiculated, that is surface glycoproteins, small multilobulated nucleus, colorless, no halo. All this will be shown to you in a continuous film footage, limitations of the presentation being that you can only see a two-dimensional video. However, under the microscope, seeing the classical changes of the Manna effect cannot be described eloquently, visually or verbally. The cells seen are fetal stem cells, considered to have beneficial clinical results, and yet you will be able to see even these cells change into the Manna cell with loss of surface glycoproteins, CD proteins, and thus lose antigenicity. This has no stain added, no chemicals, and is just a hanging drop on a slide for microscopic scrutiny. The fetal muscle in the picture is to be clearly noticed so that you may see it in a continuous film footage with the same cells in view. Now, a drop of Manna added to the same hanging drop, the Manna effect. With only one drop of Manna added, a small dilution effect can be seen. Changes seen within minutes are as below. Halo around cells, that is, live cell energy. Polychromatic, Vibgyor. Uniform round. Thickening of cell membrane. Loss of spicules, that is, no antigenicity. Single big nucleus. Less cytoplasm, which means disappearance of organelles. A vibration of the hanging drop and change in color gives us the indication of the Manna effect taking place. By changing the light of the microscope, the live energy expounding within the cell is seen as an autofluorescence. Modified phase contrast microscopy of hanging drop preparation of virgin adult differentiated cells. Features of adult differentiated cells: lusterless, monochromatic, spiculated, that is surface glycoproteins, small multilobulated nucleus, colorless, no halo. Addition of one drop of Manna onto the hanging drop preparation of virgin adult differentiated cells. Transformation of all adult differentiated cells into Manna cells within minutes in the same slide in continuous film. Let's get into the details of the changes seen within minutes. The halo around cells, live cell energy, polychromatic, VIBGYOR, uniform round, thickening of cell membrane, loss of spicules, which means no antigenicity, single big nucleus, less cytoplasm, which clearly shows disappearance of organelles. The Manna effect is constant whether it was the fetal cells you saw earlier or adult patients' nucleated cells in this footage. Vibrational and color energy changes are distinct on the addition of a drop of Manna to the hanging drop. The cells come alive, looking similar in appearance with a halo of energy seen all around the cell. Reasons for this to happen are many. Since Manna is a clear fluid, the energy quotient rests on the magneto-hydrodynamic principle as well as energy from different sources in Manna. They could be magnetic, electrical, chemical, mechanical, hydrodynamics, vibrational, optical, acoustic, thermal or gravitational. All these energies have singularly been propounded by various scientists to have effect on live cells. Here, we propose the combination of them that works with the information stored in their memory, which dissipates down through the plasma effect to the cell, ensuring a morphological and structural change clearly seen in these hanging drop preparations. The cell utilizes its own chemicals by changing their structure and appearance. This too can be seen when the cell nucleus becomes large. The cytoplasmic organelles seem to disappear, leaving behind a very thin layer of cytoplasm, and the cell wall itself thickens to take in the surface glycoproteins. These same chemicals are then used to change the cell into the Manna cell, capable of multiplying and having unique clinical characteristics. In some Manna cells, division and multiplication of the Manna cell can be seen. It looks very much like the Chinese symbol of male and female energies, the yin-yang. Just before completely dividing the cells, show this expression for a few minutes and then start the cytoplasmic division as well. Magnified view. When the same Manna cell is magnified on the computer, the rainbow is seen doubly formed with red nucleus, yellow thin cytoplasm and blue cell surface, and then the energy permeates beyond the cell, showing the red changing into the VIBGYOR as a halo around the Manna cell. The Manna cell has the following features: halo around cells, live cell energy, polychromatic, VIBGYOR, uniform round, thickening of cell membrane, loss of spicules, no antigenicity, single big nucleus, less cytoplasm, indicating disappearance of organelles. Manna cell has the property of a stem cell with much better clinical results. A very stringent quality control is carried out in the preparation of Manna, the Manna cell, and its use clinically on patients. Even more stringent are these means than those used in blood banks worldwide, since here too no preservative chemicals have been added. Over 100 different infections are ruled out before using the raw materials, and yet gram staining and culture of materials is done before use on patients for optimum clinical results. In the making of the Manna cell, raw material is the patient's own blood, centrifuged. Taken through 3000 rpm for 20 minutes, the RBCs are left behind with the clear plasma on top. In between lies the buffy coat that is rich in nucleated WBCs, and this is transformed with the Manna effect within minutes into the Manna cell. Product Manna is thus customized Manna cell with Manna fluid stored, transported at 4 to 8 degrees Celsius and dispensed in sterile 4 ml vacutainers. The Manna cell has been used successfully over the last 3 years on 993 patients, some of them on the critical list of cancer, HIV, diabetes, dialysis, hypertension and heart attack at the time of this study. Most of them were treated initially for eye disorders. However, on seeing the systemic improvements as well, the MANA cell treatment continued, and so far, none of even the critical case over the last 3 years have deteriorated by even 1 degree. The MANA effect and the MANA cell have proved clinical and microscopic success and changes. To make its impact on the world, we have made this presentation. And thank you for your time and attention in viewing it in its entirety.